Hey guys, welcome back. My name is X and this is my channel, The Journey. Um, this is my second video that I've ever made that I'm gonna post. And so bear with me for all the terrible sound quality, the shaky camera, the poor camera, poor cameraman skills, if you will. Anyways, today I wanted to talk about a couple of things and try to be a little bit more focused than my last video was. The things that I want to tackle today are I want to talk about motivation, and I'll get into that a little bit later as far as like the specifics is what I want to talk about. But the other thing that I want to talk about is the business that I'm working on that I've recently started, and actually I started on Juneteenth. There's some significance to that, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, let me get into sort of the topic that I wanted to really discuss today, which is motivation. And for me, motivation tends to kind of come and go sometimes, if I'm being 100% honest. Regarding the business I was just talking about, I've been trying to start that business for maybe, I want to say maybe 3 or 4 years. Actually, it's been much longer than that. I've been trying to start this business since 2013. And I'm just now finally taking the steps to sort of get the thing going. And it's been a struggle staying motivated to do the thing. It's been a struggle to, keep at it when you don't know what you're doing, when you're in a freaking fog, when you don't know what the next step should be. You don't know who you're talking to or who you need to talk to, the connections that you necessarily need to make. And so, yeah, it's just been a struggle trying to sort of find my feet in all this thing that I'm trying to do. And like, if you can see my pen right here, Black Entrepreneur, I bought this back in October, and this was before I started my business, and it was more so a hopeful thing. And so I've had it pinned to my jacket since then, and it's been something of a source of motivation for me to be able to call myself a Black entrepreneur, because that's something that I really do want to be able to do in my life, is to have just have a business, but two, have a successful business, and so I guess in talking about this motivation, like that's one of the motivations for me. Like one of the other motivations that I have is helping people. And so like with the business itself, I want to be able to help the people around me. I want to be able to help my community, that sort of thing. And so that's sort of one of the focuses that I've sort of had with the business. But again, like I said, it's been a major struggle trying to get the thing off the ground, trying to stay motivated, because I'll have moments of motivation where I'll just be super driven and just can't stop working towards the goal. And then I'll hit a roadblock and not know where to go from there. And it becomes very hard to maintain that same level of drive and motivation when you're hitting roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. And that's, I guess that's the life of an entrepreneur. And so what do I do to stay motivated? A lot of times what I find that I have to do is I can't just force myself to work all the time, because I'll end up producing terrible work. And like it'll be produced and created and stuff, but it wouldn't be worthwhile. It would be essentially wasted time, wouldn't even really be working towards practice or anything like that. It's just like terrible work. And so to get around producing terrible work when I'm, demotivated and don't have the energy or whatever, I just kind of lean into, what my body's telling me. Is my body's telling me to rest. My body's telling me, okay, you can't think about this right now. You're overwhelmed with whatever the situation is. Take a step back, walk away from it, and give yourself a moment to breathe. And a lot of times for me, giving myself that moment to breathe is the thing that gives me the breakthrough to push through to the next step of the project or the next phase or whatever. And so that would be one of my pieces of advice to anybody out there that's struggling with motivation and trying to stay motivated and, just maintaining a high drive to getting something done. While I definitely see the value in just going at it and getting it, sometimes that can be extremely fatiguing to your psyche, to your body physically, you know, like you'll get super exhausted and stuff. And so, yeah, I try to avoid that nowadays because I've burned out in my life before. And I really try to avoid that because when I burn out, it's extremely hard to climb back out of that hole. So, that being said, I mentioned earlier I've been working on my business since 2013. And initially the business started with a couple of friends of mine. You know, we were all hanging together. We didn't really have we didn't have jobs. We didn't have things sort of going for us at the time and had a bunch of free time. And so I decided to, like, you know, we all decided to get together and sort of try to work on a business. The thing fell through. You know, everybody couldn't stay motivated. Everybody couldn't sort of get together and, you know, develop goals and actually go out and achieve them and stuff. And so the thing sort of fell to the wayside. Eventually, I decided to pick it back up about a year ago and try to make something out of it, because at that point I was sort of restarting my life in a way. I was coming out of a very dire situation and I just sort of had a clean slate essentially. And so I started the business. I'm not going to mention the name of it because that's sort of a surprise, but the business itself is fashion and apparel and lifestyle sort of goods. I mentioned that in my last video, but I can go into it a little bit more. As far as fashion goes, I went to art school, and I went to art school for graphic design. And I went to graphic design because I saw that as, you know, a job that would always be in demand. So that was essentially sort of a logical sort of move for me in a way, but it still allowed me to sort of be creative and be in art. That being said, before I went into college, I actually really started getting into fashion design and started making my own t-shirts. I started trying to learn how to sew, started making designs for t-shirts. That's how I first started in Photoshop, was, you know, just making t-shirts designs and stuff. And so, you know, flash forward years later, I now have a great design skill base, you know, as far as graphic design and photography and stuff. But I sort of felt myself longing to get into fashion again, because I'd always been someone that really cared about, like, how I look, you know, the appearance and stuff. So, like, I have a cool outfit on today. If you don't see it, you can see it, whatever. But yeah, I like fashion. Even my my Instagram channel was dedicated to fashion for a long time. And so I've decided to go ahead and make my dreams come true and, you know, go out and make my clothes for myself and create the stuff that I don't see in the market for myself. And so part of that, you know, speaking to the Black entrepreneur side of it, I want to have a luxury fashion brand. And in order to do that, it takes a lot of capital, first off, and that's one of the things sort of holding me back right now. And so I'm trying to step it out in phases to where I can, one, test the market, and two, you know, make sure that the products are viable and that the brand is viable and stuff. But three, you know, just cost being a barrier, I need to do this as low budget as I possibly can starting off, because I don't know if it's going to succeed, and I don't want to invest too much money in it as much as I do believe in it. Which brings me to my point of, like, I could have launched this a year ago. And the reason I decided to take this super slow burn approach is because I felt it needed to be done properly. And in order to do it properly, you got to get trademarks, you got to set up the business licenses, you have to set up for taxes, you have to be able to account for things, you need a lawyer, you need a lot of things, especially if you're going into like a luxury fashion brand, because in a luxury market, appearances are everything. You got to have your shit together. And so that's what I'm working on right now, is getting my shit together and, you know, just basically getting things together so that I can launch in a way that the consumer will not have any inkling that I don't have my shit together, essentially. So, like, if you go to a terrible website and it looks terrible, you're not going to want to buy it. So that's where all my focus has been, is making sure that the product that I launch with is pristine. And I'm a perfectionist, and that can bite me in the ass sometimes, so I'm trying to get away from that. But at the same time, it sort of needs to be done in a certain way, and so that's sort of the approach that I'm taking. I got a little long-winded right here. It's a 10-minute video, going a little bit longer, just to sort of talk about what I want to talk about in the next video, because these videos are a little jumbled and rambly right now. Eventually I'll get a script going, and you know, I'll be releasing specific content at specific time. And similar to like this business thing, I want it to just get started, and two, I do need to get into some planning and prepping and stuff, so that when I do release these videos for you guys, it's, you know, it's content that you want to see, and it's content that, you know, you'll actually connect with, and you know, you don't and you don't like pass it over or whatever. So I want it to be the best possible content for you guys. Anyways, working towards that. That's the next steps. In the next video, I'm actually gonna do something totally different. Not gonna be talking about business or anything. I'm gonna do a monologue or a poem or something like that. I'll do some sort of a creative piece for you guys. I'll perform it. It'll be performative. I told you I'm trying to get in voice acting and stuff, so this is sort of part of that as well, my journey into that. So yeah, bear with me, guys. It's a journey, and you're along for the nitty-gritty part of the ride. So thank you for the support. Thank you for all the love. I appreciate all the comments and everybody that's reached out about the video, and I look forward to bringing more stuff to you guys. So I'm signing out. You guys take care. Later. Bye.